the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next-door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole, or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute video brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It's time to wake up with the Morning Boys on Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
Good Monday morning and welcome into the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It is the Morning Boys with Ryan Hickey right here with you on this gorgeous, gorgeous Monday morning. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend. It was definitely here, at least in the Long Island area, a great summer weekend for sure. One of the first times you can actually feel the summer warmth, the sunshine, get out, go about, do some summer activities. So it was definitely a great weekend for sure. Hopefully you all had the same, whatever you decided to do. I do appreciate you starting your week right here with us on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We have a great show. As always, we try to give you our best to get you through, help you get through another week. Optimism, right? If you know me or at least have listened to the show, whether it's when we restarted it again in March, or if you're with us since day one in October, first of all, we thank you for being a big fan, and we do appreciate your support. But if you listened, or again, if just know kind of my personality, I've always tried to be optimistic. I always try to be the person that looks at, the glass half full. I always try to be the person that kind of takes, as much as possible, the positive out of an event and try to latch onto that as something that, something to look forward to, of something that, again, we can really be constructive going forward in a positive way. And I feel like coming out of the weekend and coming out of these last few weeks, obviously it's tough to take some positives. Last week started the show reflecting on what was going on in our world after a weekend of a lot of anger, a lot of hatred, a lot of peaceful protests, and a lot of positivity. But also, as we know, if you watch the news a lot, the negativity of the looting, of the riots, of the destruction of property. And at least I tried to take everything that came about of the events that unfortunately started with George Floyd getting murdered on video that we all saw by Minneapolis police. And I hopefully try to take that as a positive of, listen, look at all these people in a country where we're so divided, in a country where it's hard to agree on anything. You can right now look up, the sky's blue. Half people will tell you the sky's different color, right? We can't agree on anything nowadays, whether it's politics, whether it's sports, whether it's anything. And we are more divided now than ever. And I try to take a positive, hey, look how many people are coming together, all different races, all different backgrounds, socioeconomic backgrounds, different areas they grew up. Everyone is coming together all across the country for one cause. Also, I try to take the positive out of that as to why I actually do think change could happen. And some things happened over the weekend, starting with Friday night with the video that Roger Goodell put out that I want to play here for you in a second. But between that, the NFL video, and what is going on, if you missed it, with the University of Iowa football program, with many of their former players now speaking out about injustices that have happened within the program, specifically with one strength and conditioning coach that's still there, I'm taking it as a positive. I'm taking it as actually things could possibly change for the better, to where we're not, sitting here in 5 years and 10 years with the same discussion. I mean, you can read speeches, you can read thoughts and events from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and they can really fit in to what today is. Frustration, nothing happening, people care for maybe a little bit, then go back to their normal ways. I want to give you 2 examples to start the show here of why I do think change can actually come about in a positive way. Speaking of positivity, right, with the coronavirus, with everything that's going on in the world these last few months, it's been tough to have some positivity for sure. But I do want to bring on a guest at about 9:40, so just about a half hour or so from now. His name is Brice Weiler, and he is not only the co-founder of the Beautiful Lives Project and a Baltimore Orioles employee currently, he's also a blind sportscaster, which on the surface, obviously, that doesn't, it sounds almost like an oxymoron. How can, sports is a visual medium. You have to see what's going on to describe what's going on. So let's get his story because it's just incredible. 28 years old, and he's already accomplished so much. So we're going to have Brice on, again, about 9:40 Eastern, just discuss his story. He's a co-founder of a charity, like I said, 20 years old. He has so much accomplished. Just an incredible, incredible story that I think it's definitely worth hearing. And again, to have some positivity added to our lives, I think that definitely will happen. Unfortunately, it is definitely not easy to have a full positive show. And baseball is really the one sports league, if you want to look to negatively, where you have the NBA coming back, you have the NHL coming back. The NFL so far seems like they're going to be operating at as close a schedule as possible. And then you have Major League Baseball. And the players union, the owners just cannot agree on anything. Speaking of being divided, they cannot agree on anything. They can't even agree on what they agreed upon when they signed an agreement back in March that the players would get a prorated salary based on how many games they played. They can't even agree on that. And now the discussion of coming off of the latest proposal by the players to play a 114-game schedule, that was rejected by the owners. And now there's talks of maybe a 48-game season, maybe a 54-game season, maybe a 50-game season. So I want to ask you, and the poll is already out of my Twitter account at Ryan_Hickey and the number 3, Ryan_Hickey and the number 3 on Twitter. Is it even worth playing a 48-game season? Would you be into a season that was just 48 games, or would you rather just scrap it and wait till 2021? That poll is up on, again, my Twitter at Ryan_Hickey and the number 3. I'd love to get your thoughts and your votes as we'll read that throughout the show. 2020 apocalypse, as we know. And finally, we'll end with Kevin Durant. I told you a few weeks ago, Kevin Durant, when the decision was not out there yet, when it was not official, when Sean Marks kind of really added some gas to the fire, and he was asked about Kevin Durant's health, the Nets general manager, he was asked, is KD going to return if the league resumes? And he basically said that's the million-dollar question. Kevin Durant came out over the weekend and officially said he's not coming back. We'll discuss whether that's a good decision for him or not. But I do it, like I said, I want to start with positivity. I want to try and bring as much positivity here as possible, because it's so easy to get caught up in the negative, especially nowadays. It is very, very easy to buy into the negative, read the negative, and just feel like nothing's going right. But I want to highlight the NFL. I want to use the NFL as an example of a positive, and why I actually do think change could happen in this country coming off of the last few weeks with racial injustice. And I think all of us getting on the same page, understanding each other, and maybe having less hate and less divisiveness in the world. And that's because on Friday night, Roger Goodell, using the NFL official Twitter handle, dropped a video in response to many star players basically voicing their concerns and voicing their frustration with the initial statement that the NFL put out. So if you missed it, on Thursday night, led by Michael Thomas reached out to star NFL players like Saquon Barkley, like DeAndre Hopkins. You had Patrick Mahomes in there. You had many prominent NFL players basically put out a video all stating together that they want to see the NFL take more action. They were not happy with the initial statement that the NFL put out there, and they want to basically hear the NFL say they have their back. Say Black Lives Matter. Say you agree with our cause, and actually not just agree, actually help us accomplish that. And that was put out on Thursday. And on Friday night, surprisingly, Roger Goodell taped a video in response to that player video that was demanding the NFL do better, basically. And I want to play Roger's video here. It's 1 minute and 20 seconds, I think, but it's important, I think, because this is something the NFL has never, ever done before and really didn't have to do. So here's Roger Goodell responding to the players, the star players, asking for the NFL doing more. Here's his video in response.
It's been a difficult time for our country, in particular, Black people in our country. First, my condolences to the families of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and all the families who have endured police brutality. We, the National Football League, condemn racism and the systematic oppression of Black people. We, the National Football League, admit we were wrong for not listening to NFL players earlier and encourage all to speak out and peacefully protest. We, the National Football League, believe Black Lives Matter. I personally protest with you and want to be part of the much-needed change in this country. Without Black players, there would be no National Football League. And the protests around the country are emblematic of the centuries of silence, inequality, and oppression of Black players, coaches, fans, and staff. We are listening. I am listening. And I will be reaching out to players who have raised their voices and others on how we can improve and go forward for a better and more united NFL family.
So that's Roger Goodell, obviously, again, responding to what the players said, and not only responding to what the players said, really speaking out and really giving his passionate thoughts and interesting thoughts, I think, for the first time, because really, we've never heard the NFL speak like this. We never heard Roger Goodell speak like this. So this is why watching this video, watching it a few times, and now if this is the first time you hear it, I really do think change is actually coming. And it's just a video. Obviously, no actions have been done. But this is why I totally believe, Lisa, and I'm optimistic that change in this country is coming. Here's why. First of all, if you're a fan of the NFL, you know, it's almost impossible to get Roger Goodell to feel human, to seem human. Anytime he speaks, it feels robotic. Anytime he speaks, it's all about business. There's really no insight into his life, no insight to what he likes, no insight to really even feelings. Anytime he discusses whether it's player discipline, whether it's a tragic event that happens, whether it's a happy event that happens, he's robotic. It's all just one mode for Roger Goodell. So to hear him actually speak like this, to hear him say these words, Black Lives Matter, to hear him say we were wrong and not listening earlier, when does the NFL actually admit fault of their own? They rarely do it. So I'll commend the NFL for owning it, for realizing what they did back in 2016 and 2017. Looking at Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, looking at other players then taking Colin Kaepernick's lead and basically trying to prevent it as much as possible, try to silence their voices as much as possible and contributing to the problem instead of helping to be a solution. I respect the NFL and I commend the NFL for admitting their fault, even if they didn't mention Colin Kaepernick by name. Right? He said, we apologize for not listening to players' voices earlier. Obviously, we know the one player and the main player whose voice was heard loud and clear, the NFL went to silence and wanted to quiet down. So while, sure, it may be reminiscent of the NCAA, because this is, I think, a fair comparison, right? The NCAA, as they are similar to NFL, where they will try to hold on to any rules they have and basically do not want change, no matter what. And eventually, when they're forced to do change, they will do it and then try to act like they are doing it out of their own good. An example here, at least for the NFL, is obviously we know Colin Kaepernick, 2016, 2017, he helped a lot of players, whether it's take a knee or speak out on social injustice. Well, after he's out of the league, after the 2017 season, or excuse me, after the 2016 season, the NFL starts a year later, the NFL Social Justice Initiative. A year after Colin Kaepernick was out of the league, they finally created a program to focus on social injustice, and it almost felt like just a way for the players, to almost be quiet. Hey, listen, this is what we're doing. We're finally doing this. It's something here, so now you can stop protesting. But why I do watch this video, and I do actually take Roger Goodell at his word that he was wrong, that the NFL respects Black Lives and accepts Black Lives Matter, and are willing to help, is because the NFL rarely, if ever, takes a stance that would alienate or upset a portion of their fan base. Right? If you watch The Last Dance, remember, Michael Jordan was heavily criticized because when it came to social issues, when it came to racial injustice, and the platform he had as a black man in this country, the most popular athlete maybe we've ever had, ever in history. Global icon. Obviously, he's an icon in the United States. And his weight, his platform is so powerful. But remember, he never spoke out against racial injustice. He never spoke out about political issues, and never used his platform to help those that are suffering. Remember, he had that famous quote, Republicans buy shoes too. Trying to basically toe the line down the middle, not upset Democrats, not upset Republicans, not upset people who like the president, not upset people who are against the president. It was good business for you to be liked by everybody. And that's what the NFL up to this point has done. Remember, going back to 2016, 2017, when Colin Kaepernick first started taking a knee and other players followed suit. Remember, this was the most divisive NFL topic, maybe sports topic we've ever had. Working at sports radio, at CBS Sports Radio those 2 years, the calls that we got week in and week out about Colin Kaepernick, about players protesting, we got a lot of them. Anytime you said those two words, Colin Kaepernick, the phone lines lit up. Everyone had opinions. Most of them were negative. Most of them were, what is this guy doing? Get him out of the league. They shouldn't be doing this. And the NFL heard those complaints, heard President Trump voice his displeasure, and then in 2018 put a policy where players could get fined if they kneel for the national anthem. So the NFL heard the voices, they heard the discontent, heard the vocal majority of fans, of political pundits that did not support or agree with Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, and they listened and they didn't want to get anyone upset, so they put a policy in 2018, hey, you take a knee, we can fine you. Before, it was up to the team. But they put that policy in back in 2018 again to cater to those fans who are upset, to make sure and keep as much audience as possible. Because guess what? Guess what also happened when players taking a knee? The ratings were down, and the big talk is not about the play on the field. It was about these players taking a knee and their social injustice causes. That was the discussion. And obviously, it was elevated and escalated by President Trump weighing in constantly and giving his thoughts. So think about this. This is with this video, with Roger Goodell basically agreeing with those players who are upset, taking their side and saying, I will protest with you. This is the NFL and Roger Goodell going directly against Donald Trump for the first time since he's become president. He didn't want players kneeing. Okay, 2018 we'll put a policy in, players can't knee. His voters are upset. Okay, we're going to do our best to make sure that we don't show the anthem on television. We don't show the players that are kneeling as much as possible to try to not bring light to it. This is the first time they're going against Donald Trump. This is the first time that they are purposely going and alienating a portion of their fan base. And this is interesting because the Washington Post had an article over the weekend basically going into the decision by Roger Goodell to make this video. Right? Obviously, we know he made this video and apparently did not tell owners. He told a select few of owners, but for the most part, a lot of people in the NFL, in the front offices, in the NFL league office, were surprised that this video was put out. They did not see this coming. It was not a known thing that Roger Goodell was going to make a video and say what he said. It's interesting because basically that Washington Post article highlights how it happened, starting with a rogue NFL employee in the social media department reaching out to Michael Thompson saying, listen, I'm frustrated. I want you, I'm with you. I want to help. I don't think the NFL's statement was good enough. How can we help? And they helped put together that video. The reason why I bring that up is because there's a source cited in that article discussing how, no doubt, the NFL is going to get some backlash from a certain percentage of fans. Right? Without a doubt, you take a stance that a lot of fans were against 4 years ago. Guess what? Those feelings haven't gone away. If anything, they've intensified and gotten stronger these last few weeks and maybe even years. So Goodell knew what he was doing in that a certain portion of the fan base, we don't know how big, but a certain portion of the fan base will be upset. He knew President Trump was going to be upset, still did it anyway. So I commend the NFL for taking somewhat of a stance that's not controversial, is not the right word. It shouldn't be controversial to accept and agree with the Black Lives Matter movement, but controversial in the fact that knowing that it's going to get a section of the fan base upset, knowing that it could drive away fans like it did a few years ago, and still going through with it anyway. And on that topic, on that note, the NFL took an extra step that really, honestly, they never do. Think about it. They put out a statement like most leagues, like most teams on May 30th, basically, condoning and condemning racism. But really, it was hollow and it was very hypocritical because obviously here's the NFL speaking out against what happened to George Floyd, but yet, they were the ones who tried to silence and then eventually blackballed Colin Kaepernick out of the NFL for speaking up and protesting what exactly happened, essentially. So it was very hypocritical, but it was out there. The NFL, they can take bad PR. We've known that for a fact. They'll put out a statement. They'll ride by it. They'll let the waves of criticism roll in. Then a week, 2 weeks, a month later, people forget. Okay, it's business as usual. But for Roger Goodell to take it a step further personally, by saying, quote, "I personally protest with you and want to be part of the much-needed change in this country," end quote. I do think that's powerful, and I do buy in to what he's saying for a positive. So look, again, I told you, I'm an optimist. I hope I'm not trying to just, wish something into existence, or I'm not trying to take something that's not there and try to spin it around to say, hey, this is a positive. I am hopeful change is happening because now we're starting to see, whether it's leagues, whether it's players, whether it's coaches, owners, whoever, people are speaking out that normally weren't speaking out 4 years ago, and now recognize the problem and are trying to not pretend like they, that they were wanting to help a few years ago. That's what I respect the NFL admitting, hey, we had a chance 4 years ago, 3 years ago, we didn't listen. The NFL rarely admits that they're wrong, and they admitted that they were wrong in that situation. And this is how truly change happens. It's recognizing what we did or didn't do a few years ago, looking yourself in the mirror and saying, how can I be better going forward? How can I be the reason for change, not just basically bury my head in the sand and hope change happens, but hope someone else does change? So, well, it's just a video. Well, it's just words. I think it's a really good start, and I hope that the NFL will take action. We'll see whether it's allowing players to kneel, whether it's starting more social injustice groups within the players, whether it's promoting and helping players with their own platforms give back and bring awareness. So we'll see what the NFL can do. There's tons of variation, especially with the major platform they have. The most popular sport in America, maybe arguably the greatest and most powerful corporation so far in the country. They've had a tremendous platform to actually institute change. And again, we have to see put in action. But so far with that video, I give the NFL more credit than not. They didn't have to do it. They could have just wrote out the bad publicity, and then keep going business as usual. So I truly do believe that change is happening. And partly because Roger Goodell, again, is admitting Black Lives Matter, admitting we messed up a few years ago, and how can we be a part of the change for the good? I commend the commissioner, I commend the NFL going forward, and I really do hope that they act on those words and make those words good going forward. So I'd love to get your thoughts. If you listen to the video for the first time, what'd you think? I know for me, it was surprising. I had to watch it twice just because it's like, is the NFL really saying this? Is the NFL actually taking a stance? Not just doing whatever is good for business, which, as we know, that's their MO. If it makes money, it makes sense. That's how the NFL rolls, and now they are actually taking a stand for good. It's good to see. So we'll get your thoughts, whether it's on Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. If you want to chime in on Twitter at WWSRN_Twitter. If you're on Twitter, throw us a follow. You get an alert anytime the show goes live. But also, if you're on Twitter, if you could search me at Ryan_Hickey and the number 3 at Ryan_Hickey and then the number 3. I have a show poll up there. We'll get to this a little bit later on the show. MLB is talking about a possible 48-game schedule. Let's get your thoughts. Do you want to see baseball? Is 48 games better than nothing? Or would you, at that point, rather just throw it out the window, pack it up, we'll play baseball in 2021 and just forget the rest of the season, forget this year even happened? So I'll have to get your thoughts. That's out there at Ryan_Hickey and number 3. I'll have to get your poll results. And when we come back, speaking of change, what's going on at the University of Iowa, I think is very positive for change going forward. We'll explain what's going on and how it's for the better when the Morning Boys Hickey return right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear hug.
Uh-huh, okay.
Well, we were building a bonfire, and I saw some, dry brush and leaves around, so, I said to move the bonfire somewhere else, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear shows up and hugs me.
So you noticed some wildfire hazards and moved your bonfire to a safer location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Smokey, all right. He likes when people help prevent wildfires. It hits him close to home. Not everybody gets the hug, my friend. So that's pretty special to get a hug from Smokey Bear.
So it was him. Hey, guys, I told you it was Smokey.
Okay, well, congratulations, my friend. And thanks for calling. There are many ways to prevent a wildfire. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Many ways to prevent a wildfire.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. Waking up every day, lifting him from the bed to the wheelchair to the car to get him to therapy on time, it's no small task between the doctors and the diagnosis, but nothing can disable this love. This is my big brother, my hero. He's part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. See, there's no time for tired. This starts again tomorrow. He'll be waiting for me. I wake up for him. I know he needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community, or call 877-333-5885. Caregiving Resource Center. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It's time to wake up with the Morning Boys on Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
Welcome back into the Worldwide Sports Radio Network on this gorgeous Monday morning. We appreciate you joining and being a part and starting your week with us right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Hopefully make these at least 2 hours every 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. every Monday and Thursday. A little bit more enjoyable, a little bit, different way to change up the week, and really any time that seems like every day blends together. We hope at least that we can bring a little bit of entertainment, little happiness, and a little optimism for 2 hours, again, twice a week is what we go for here. And hopefully with the NFL, seeing and hearing Roger Goodell's video, speaking out and agreeing with the players, backing the players. Think about that. In a league that's 70% black, where social injustice and police brutality towards African Americans has happened, I mean, go back as long as you want, longest time happens. In a league that's majority of the players are black, excuse me, they've never had their back before. Think about it. There's 2 GMs and 4 African-American coaches. There's a major diversity issue in the front office and the coaching ranks in the NFL. Despite the workforce being the majority of black and minority players, the front office and the coaching staff is the complete opposite. And for the first time, we've seen the NFL actually back and take the backs of the players and support them, support the players that make the league, support the players that, as Roger Goodell said, if there was no black players, there would be no NFL. Nice to see that he actually has the back of his workforce for the first time, actually take a stand for the good. So I commend the NFL. I think it's, like I said, a step in the positive direction. And I think overall, change can happen going forward. That's why I really want to highlight that story, because that's how change happens. It's addressing the issue. It's realizing, basically taking a step back, say, hey, what have we done or not done to help move forward? Obviously, 4 years ago, the NFL did everything possible to have social justice, have speaking out take a step back, trying to try to silence those voices who were speaking out and protesting during NFL games. And now at least they recognize, hey, we have to be part of the solution. It's not good enough to just be not part of the problem. We have to be part of the solution. I think that video is the first step in the NFL, the major platform that they are, the dominant company that they are, going forward to help put social change moving forward. Love to get your thoughts. Again, Worldwide Sports Radio Network on Facebook, WWSRN_radio on Twitter. We're going to have Brice Weiler, speaking of optimism. It's a great, incredible story about Brice, a blind sportscaster, co-founded Beautiful Lives Project, and currently works with the Baltimore Orioles. And really, if you remember from a few years ago, the Orioles were the first team to have Braille on their uniforms. He was part of that initiative. He was part of the movement to have that happen back in 2018. So we'll get Brice's thoughts here in about 10 minutes or so. Just an incredible, incredible story that hopefully we can bring some more optimism to your world here on a Monday. But I kind of want to stick with the NFL, kind of the optimistic theme within sports of helping to create change within our country. And that's happening not just in the NFL, but also in college football, specifically with the Iowa Hawkeyes football program. And this is a story that's really developing, really starting to blow up over the weekend as well. And if you missed it, here's essentially what happened. So their head coach is Kirk Ferentz. He's a legend there in Iowa. He's been there since, I believe, 1988. A ton of success. You know, Iowa, if you're a college football fan or a Big Ten fan, they're always a feisty team. They're always a really hard-nosed, tough, fundamental team that basically has always had success, right? For the most part, they haven't hit the peak or the plateau of winning a title, but they are just consistently 8, 9, 10 wins every single year, and they're always a tough out. They don't just roll over and die. A lot has to do with Kirk Ferentz, and a lot of credit to him for building a legitimate contender in Iowa year in and year out with teams like Ohio State, with teams like Penn State, with teams like Wisconsin, always kind of at the top of the rankings year in and year out. So Kirk Ferentz was asked, with what's going on in this country, would you be okay with either players kneeling, players protesting in some sort of way this upcoming season? And Kirk Ferentz acknowledged that he wants to do something as a team this season, whether it's all taking a knee, whether it's all showing some sort of unity that change has to happen, and they're on the side of the black players and the Black Lives Matter movement. So good quote, wants to do something, not sure what's going to happen, but wants to do something as a team to show we're unified, we're in this together. Now what happened is that quote obviously sounds good, right? Okay, here's a player who recognized it. Here's a coach that recognized it. Here's a coach that wants to do something for the greater good and wants all of his players on the same page, so there's no division. There's no, 3 players kneeling and the rest have to speak for those 3 players. Everyone's going to do it together. I think is the right move. Now, here's what happened. Former Iowa center James Daniels tweeted, he saw this tweet, quote tweeted, and said, if the team collectively decides to kneel, this will bring about a cultural change for both Iowa football and the state of Iowa, which I believe is long overdue. And this tweet, then he followed that up a few days later with this tweet, quote, there are too many racial disparities in the Iowa football program. Black players have been treated unfairly for far too long. This set off a firestorm of examples, of anecdotes, of stories from former Iowa football players, basically speaking about what actually happens in the program and really how there were a lot of racial incidents that happened that black players specifically feel should be corrected, should go on no further. So think about this. A former center, James Daniels, responds to Kirk Ferentz basically acknowledging that something has to happen. At least 36, and this is still developing because the first tweet, the tweet that a lot of players are responding to, we sent was Friday, and players are still weighing in and giving their own stories. So right now, currently, at least 36 former Iowa football players have responded back to James Daniels' initial tweet, providing their own examples, stories, anecdotes, and even a bunch of white players are joining in, basically saying, I've witnessed this, I've seen this, I stand with these black players that are telling these stories, change has to happen. And most of these stories surround their strength and conditioning coach, Chris Doyle, who's since been put on administrative leave. Now, the stories and examples included, Chris Doyle telling a player he'll send him back to the ghetto. And then when this player stood up to the coach and said, what are you saying that? You can't say that. He was then suspended by Kirk Ferentz. Think about that. This claim, at least from a player, is that the strength and conditioning coach told him, I'll send you back to the ghetto. Obviously, he was black. Obviously, that's what that means. Player stood up for himself and then was suspended for standing up for himself and speaking back to a coach. Same guy, strength and conditioning coach Chris Doyle, then told the player if he was going to rob a bank or go rob a liquor store because he was wearing a team-issued mask. one of those, if you, for a college football fan, you see, a lot of NFL and college players wear like basically a mask, or even if you're a skier, you can wear one of those masks that cover your mouth, cover your head, and basically almost like a wetsuit sort of thing where just you can basically only your eyes are poking out to see to keep you warm. He basically said he was wearing this team-issued mask because it's freezing cold in Iowa in the middle of winter, and then you had the strength and conditioning coach asking if he was about to go rob a bank or rob a liquor store. And these players, these stories spanned not just, years, decades. Right now, from what I can tell, the earliest player to chime in with a story goes back to 2009. So at least 11 years, of players who've spoken up and provided different stories and different anecdotes of what happened have chimed in. And again, 11 years this has gone on. Who knows? It could go back even further. But the message really is all the same. Black players in the Iowa football program had to act a different way. Now, obviously, Iowa is a predominantly white state. I believe they're 37th when it comes to racial disparity. 37th out of 50 in the U.S., that is. But basically, the main message is players had to act a different way, and there are plenty of examples, whether it's strength and conditioning coach, whether it's even Kirk Ferentz's son, Brian, who was named here in a few different instances of saying some racially charged epithets towards players. And this is why I think it's important. This is why, again, going back to the change, it's a good thing. Because now players are speaking out. This is how change happens. When you recognize an injustice, you call it out and you speak it out and say, hey, listen, this cannot be tolerated. This can go on no further. That's how change happens. Think about it. Players going back to as far as 2009 have gone back and said stories. So this is obviously what's going on is that these racial injustices would happen in the program. Maybe one or two players witness it. Maybe they'll say something, maybe not. Gets brushed under the rug and business goes back as usual. And this has spanned at least a decade, and who knows how much further it goes back. When the same thing happens, an incident happens, players either say something, get in trouble for it, don't say anything, and just kind of carry that pain with them for a while. And now, finally, players are speaking out and saying, this cannot go on any further, this cannot be tolerated, and to me, at least, that's how change actually happens. Can't bury our heads in the sand like we've been doing for decades before this. Speaking out, calling it out when we see it, and having having people either face punishment or recognize what they're doing if they're doing it, accidentally, whatever it is, cannot happen any further. Now, it doesn't sound like this is an accident. This guy knows what he's saying. But speaking out, pulling it out and saying, hey, we cannot have this anymore, that's how change happens. So that's why I'm encouraged. Because now players are feeling the power, players are feeling the importance of saying, we've dealt with this in the past, listen to our stories, this is what happens. And now, for people, like me and you, let's just say, people who grew up from a white background, if you don't witness it, unless you read, unless you listen, there's no way to really know about it. That's why it's so important to listen and to read and to educate of this is what happens more than you think, and happens way more places than you think. So I applaud those Iowa players for feeling empowered enough to speak up, because it's not easy either. I mean, a lot of the players said the same thing. They love their time at Iowa. They love being a Hawkeye. They're proud to say they're from Iowa and play football there. But at the same time, they're doing this out of the goodness of their hearts because they want change to happen, don't want what happened to them happen to future players, That's how change comes about, speaking out, calling it out, and calling the people out that are doing the injustice. So an investigation going on with their strength and conditioning coach, Chris Doyle. He's on administrative leave currently. We'll see what comes about this investigation, if he's permanently fired from his job, and if so, if these claims turn out to be valid, credible, happened, and the strength and conditioning coach pays for it, that's a great start for change. Weed out the bad actors, weed out those that aren't contributing, call them out, and bring someone else in who will promote social justice, who will promote diversity, who will treat everyone the same, so you don't have to feel anxiety that you have to be someone else when you walk into the football building, when you walk into the weight room, when you walk on the field. That's another sentiment that a lot of the players spoke about. They felt like they had to be someone else, had to be whoever the coaches wanted them to be when they came into the building. Think about that. Think about not even trying to be yourself, not having the option to be yourself. So I really applaud and I really credit these players for coming out, bringing their stories, bringing light to what actually happens. And because of that, because we actually see, the curtains drawn, the doors open, we see what goes on. That's how change happens. So I applaud Iowa, and I hope, again, that these two examples of Iowa football players calling out injustice and trying to bring the football program to a place and get the people out that aren't bringing it to a good place. And then also the NFL with Roger Goodell taking a stand, backing the players. That's how I think true change happens. That's why I'm taking a positive note out of this weekend. Two examples, I think, in sports that are like, hey, we see what's going on. This is how we can help. First step is, again, removing those in power that continue to oppress, continue to suppress. And the good news is, at least if Chris Doyle is removed and found guilty, that he will be out. And that will be a huge, huge boon for Iowa going forward and the diversity within that program. So we'll get your thoughts on Facebook, again, Worldwide Sports Radio Network, or on Twitter, WWSRN_radio. When we come back, Brice Weiler, we'll talk to him, blind sportscaster, incredible life so far, just 20 years old. We'll get his story and bring some more positivity here with the Morning Boys, Ryan Hickey, when we return right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Setuha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com, or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not saving to anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? Can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff, even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It's time to wake up with the Morning Boys on Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
We are back here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network on this Monday. We appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully everyone's having a great weekend, or had a great weekend. I should say having a great Monday so far, as we at least hear the theme so far on this Monday show is positivity, optimism, right? We started with the NFL and Roger Goodell's video highlighting that, hey, change actually could happen, because here's someone who's part of the problem, the NFL, or maybe not part of the, the NFL was part of the problem. Trying to silence protests, trying to just brush it under the rug. They were part of the problem. And here's Roger Goodell and the NFL admitting we were wrong 4 years ago. We're going to try to be part of the solution. And then it continued and snowballed into Iowa football, having 36 players at least call out basically injustices and racism that has gone through the program for years, dating back to as early as 2009, and calling out and putting the main person responsible for this and strength and conditioning coach Chris Doyle on blast. This is what this guy's done. These are all the incidents that happen, and many players have similar stories. And now Chris Doyle has been put on administrative leave, and we'll see what the status of his job is going forward. He could be fired. That's how change happens. And speaking of at least optimism that change could happen, next guest here, name is Brice Weiler. Very, very incredible story as we're going to continue with the good vibes and the optimism here. He is the co-founder of the Beautiful Lives Project, current Baltimore Orioles employee, and is a blind sportscaster, which is an incredible story. We'd love to get Bryce's story here. So Brice Wyler, thanks so much for giving us a few minutes. How are you this morning?
Hi, Ryan. Thank you so much for having me on.
Cool. Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you giving us a few minutes here to share just, again, your incredible life story up to this point. So many questions. So I want to start with this. All the good work you've done so far, which we'll get into here in a second, has been centered around sports. So I'm curious, what was it, growing up, what was it about sports that drew you in to you and make as part of your career and part of how you are changing the world?
I grew up listening to sports on the radio, listening to Mike Shannon commentating for the St. Louis Cardinals, and listening to Brian Barnhart commentating for the Fighting Illini, and Don Fisher commentating for the Indiana Hoosiers. And those were three broadcasters that got me interested in sports, and it brought pictures of the action happening on the court and the field to me and created pictures that I could see in my mind's eye.
It's incredible. And speaking, before we even go any further, I guess we should kind of go back. Your story is incredible just because it was, your life wasn't even supposed to happen. Can you just tell the audience what it was like even just, to be born, to fight through that, to even just get to where you are today, 20 years old?
I was born 4 months premature with an eye condition called retinopathy of prematurity. And the doctors did not think that I would live because I was born so early. And due to maybe too much light or too much oxygen, the doctors really are not sure. When I was in the hospital, it caused the retinas in my eyes to detach, which caused me to be blind.
It's just incredible to even get to this point. Like, it's just an incredible story. We're talking to Brice Weiler, co-founder of the Beautiful Lives Project, Baltimore Orioles employee, which I want to get to in just a second here. But Brice, you broadcasted games for Evansville. You've done baseball games for the New Britain Bees. You broadcast over 140 games. So what's that experience like? And honestly, how do you do it? Obviously, how are you able to commentate on the action, what's going on, without being able to see it?
I listen to the play-by-play broadcaster who I'm working with, and I study his or her style because they are the true star of the radio broadcast or the internet broadcast that I might be working on. I study facts on the players and the coaches. I go down and speak with each team's coach before the game and some of the players. I also make sure there's a good crowd microphone so I can hear the sound of the ball bouncing off the rim or swishing through the net, or if it's baseball or softball, hear that ball hitting the catcher's glove or hitting the dirt so I can call a pitch if I'm telling a story or sharing some trend about what is occurring in the game.
So, Brice, I'm curious. In the sports industry, and really, this can really expand to almost any industry now, with jobs being so competitive. It's all about really who you know and getting your foot in the door, right? That's really the hardest part, is getting your foot in the door, showing people that you deserve a chance. And from there, once you get the foot in the door, you can show people what you actually can do. How hard is it for you to get that first initial step in the door?
It was really hard for me, and no one really helped me with it. I set it all up myself by emailing and calling pro sports teams and college sports teams, becoming friends with the owners of teams and people such as that. And it's still even hard now to get more consulting work as I try to get more sports teams to let me be their consultant, because leagues such as the MLB and NBA, I'm good friends with Rob Manfred, the Major League Baseball commissioner, and Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner. They're both friends of mine. I can't convince them to set league-wide standards for what their teams have to do for people of all disabilities. So when I try to convince another team to hire me to help them, or the importance of hiring individuals of all disabilities for a job with these teams, it's really hard for me to do that because there aren't standards of what teams have to do at a cohesive level. So it ranges from team to team.
Okay, so let's just take that what you said, because you were, while maybe league-wide it's tougher, but you had a great impact and a great role with the Baltimore Orioles, who you're currently employed with, as they were the first team to have actually Braille on their uniforms. The Orioles was in Braille, the names on the back of the jerseys was in Braille. What was it like to be part of that experience, to help be the first usher, that be the first MLB team to have Braille and bring kind of blind awareness as a night, let's say, for Major League Baseball?
That event happened in September 2018 when the Orioles were hosting the Toronto Blue Jays at Camden Yards. So we had 150 fans at that game who were either visually impaired or blind, and I put all of the food menus into Braille by the food stands where these individuals were sitting so they could read what there was to eat or drink, because nothing is more frustrating than having someone read food menus to you. I ensured that the ushers properly knew how to guide individuals who are blind, and also that the guide dogs that people might be bringing had places to use the bathroom. And I visited with the fans who were at the game throughout the game. And it was really a great night just to show that there's things beyond sports that can impact and change so many people's lives, and the importance of people who are blind learning how to read Braille. I've known how to read Braille since I was 5. But sometimes whenever someone becomes blind or visually impaired partway through their life, they feel nervous about reading Braille because they think people are going to judge them. So events and programs such as that can show people from any group that it's important to learn the necessary skills to become a part of the world once again.
So I'm Brice Wyler, blind sportscaster, co-founder of Beautiful Lives Project, and current Baltimore Orioles employees. You just heard him discuss being a part of the Orioles becoming the first Major League Baseball team to have their name in the back of their jerseys and the front of their jerseys in Braille to highlight, and like I said, and Brice said, to bring awareness. So Brice, I'm curious, you just highlighted in that answer, the frustration of going to a game as someone who's blind, had the frustration of maybe the ushers aren't trained or don't know how to help. How frustrating is it, or how lack of preparedness, I should say, are these stadiums to cater to the blind community?
I don't just do programs for people who are blind, by the way. I do things for people of all disabilities. I work with teams on putting in closed captioning boards or ensuring that their wheelchair platforms are at a proper level so that fans can see if someone stands up in front of them, and a whole myriad of other things, because it wouldn't be fair to segment myself to just do programs for individuals who are blind. But I don't normally go to a lot of even pro or college games because there is an 8 to 10 second time lapse on the radio, and it can be really frustrating sitting through a game when you hear the crowd cheering and you don't know what happened till 8 to 10 seconds later. Thankfully, Baltimore does not have that at their home games there at Camden Yards. So I really enjoy going there, but I don't go to many professional or college games just for that single reason personally, unless I have to be there or someone needs me to be there, then I will go, of course. But if given the choice, I'd rather sit home and listen.
We're talking to Brice Wyler, co-founder of the Beautiful Lives Project. So Brice, I want to get into that. How'd you come about that charity? And like you said, it's not just for blind folks. It's anyone with disabilities that want to participate in the sports industry, in the sports world, play sports, have sports a part of their life. How did you come about co-founding this charity?
I contacted the owner of the New Britain Bees, Anthony Icavone, and Anthony gave me the opportunity to be the co-founder of the Beautiful Lives Project and to also commentate New Britain Bees games on the radio. But with the Beautiful Lives Project, we have sports programs where people of all disabilities can play on the court or the field with sports teams across the country, such as baseball teams, basketball teams, soccer teams, football, softball teams, and this could be at the high school level, the college level, or the professional level. But we do more than just sports programs. We do programs where individuals of all disabilities can experience music, they can experience ballet, they can perform with a cheerleading team, perform with a dance team, a whole plethora of programs across the country. We're always looking for more chapter presidents to help us run events in cities and small towns. We're always looking for people to help us through investing in Smile, so that's through funding or helping us with setting up events, hosting an event, or if they have someone who's interested in participating in an event. So hopefully people will go to our website, which is beautifullives.org, and they can contact me at Brice@beautifullives.org, BRYCE @beautifullives.org. They could also call me or text me with any questions about my life or about what they could do with the Beautiful Lives Project. And my phone number is 812-899-5673. 812-899-5673.
So Brice Weiler, beautifullives.org, where you can learn more information about the great work that Brice is doing, and also reach out if you want to become, if you're inspired, if you want to help out in a way. That is all the information there, beautifullives.org. So Brice, I'm curious, what's the goal that you want to accomplish with this in the end? Is there an end goal for Beautiful
We'd like
Lives?
to set up as many Beautiful Lives Project chapters across the country and the world to inspire people to create lifelong friendships, to break down stereotypes, and to get rid of barriers that are holding people back, people of all disabilities, from living their dreams and doing things that they've always wanted to achieve in life.
So, Brice, I'm curious, because obviously this is part of the reason why we want to have you on it, and your pitch, which although it was incredible, is because nowadays with the coronavirus, with social injustice going on in this country, we are, it's been a really rough 2020. I'll tell anyone that twice. But I was going through your Twitter account, which is at Brice Weiler, Weiler, by the way, if you're on Twitter. And you had a really nice tweet that I kind of want to hit on here. And your tweet was, it was a little bit longer. It basically said, judging people is only holding this world back. So I'm curious, obviously, hearing what's going on this last few weeks, and really ever since 2020 began, what's it been like to hear the stories, hear the anger, hear the frustration that really has been caused by judging and by injustice that goes on? What's been your thoughts as what happened here basically these last few months since 2020 started?
People should not judge individuals based on their disability, skin color, on various other things, where they go to church, if they don't go to church, because judging someone, you're just not helping anyone out, and you're losing out on possibly making a good friend, and people do not deserve to be judged. I know whenever I was applying for jobs when I finished college, I never told people that I was blind when I'd send in my documents and my cover letter, because you're actually not supposed to do that, because you don't have to tell a potential job that you are blind or deaf or having autism or whatever the case might be. But whenever someone found that out because they typed my name into Google and saw pictures of me commentating or read some articles, I would suddenly disappear off of that job screening process. So it really showed me that judging people is definitely not the way to go, and the world would be such a much better place if no one judged anyone and people just accepted each other for their differences and understood the value that everyone is special and everyone is special and different in their own unique, positive ways.
Accepting people for their differences. I think that's a great, I feel like a summation, a short way just to say, how can we improve in this country? It's just accepting, as you know, there's a lot of division here, whether it's sports, whether it's not sports, politics, it's all one side or the other, and there's really no listening. There's no even thinking or considering what the other side is thinking. So with that, because I'm kind of curious, because part of it, at least for today's show specifically, I try to be more optimistic because there's so much negativity. It's so easy to get discouraged, so easy to get depressed with the news of what's going on, to kind of lose hope. How have you been able to stay so positive? Because your story is so inspiring, and like you've jumped through so many different hoops of adversity, have to fight so much for basically everything you have so far. How do you stay so positive?
I just always try to find things to do that excite me every day. I've been setting up radio and podcast interviews across the country to use my life to inspire people and to make new friends, such as you, Ryan, and hopefully some of your individuals who are listening out there. I've been contacting more people, connecting with people on my LinkedIn account. I'm trying to get to 30,000 people that I am connected with.
Wow.
I'm at 29,200 right now, so I have 800 to go. So I always have lots of projects going on. I'm finding new people to host events and programs in the future, speaking with possible chapter presidents across the country, and really just having a fantastic time 7 days a week.
And Brice, part of the reason why your story is so incredible and so inspiring is because you're just 20 years old. You co-founded a charity. You work for a Major League Baseball team. You helped implement a major change with the Orioles, and again, having their uniforms in Braille, which is just an insane accomplishment because, as you know, that hasn't happened before. So what is next for you? I mean, first of all, you're making all of us look, that are young and looking bad here. I haven't really accomplished anything. I haven't done anything. Here you are starting charities, creating change in major sports leagues. What's next for you? Because you still have so much more to go.
Whatever people want to let me do. Hopefully some of your listeners may want to have me help them hire individuals of all disabilities for their company. It could be a grocery store, whatever company it might be. Hopefully I will be willing to or able to get more sports teams to give me the same opportunity that the Orioles staff has given me. But a lot of that is out of my control. I can email people and call them and tell them this is why it's important to expand your brand, to do these programs to hire individuals of all disabilities, or to do these programs to include individuals of all disabilities at your stadiums or in your company. But people have to want to do that. They have to see the value in that opportunity, and they have to want to give that opportunity a chance. And when I get those chances, I make sure to make them pay off, because I know how many hours, how many days of 14, 16 hours a day I've spent emailing and calling people and trying to convince people. And basically it's the same people over and over and over again, Ryan, who I'm emailing and calling. So it takes a while to change their minds when they don't want to do something, or they don't at first understand the value in whatever I am trying to show to them.
I'm just laughing now, Brice, because like you said, it is so hard to change people's minds nowadays, that no matter, what the cause is, what you're trying to pitch, for whatever reason, when people have their minds made up, it's so hard to change. And like you said, hopefully that's, now with kind of what's going on, people are taking a step back, thinking, listening, hopefully just in any aspect, not just, whether it's social injustice or police brutality, but any aspect of life, people can actually start to listen more, to understand the other side. So Brice, I'm just curious, has there been an underlying reason for whether it's other leagues, whether it's other teams to not get on board? You cited your frustration of constantly reaching out. You're friends with Rob Manfred, you're friends with Adam Silver. Is there, underlying reason or one thought process as to why, so far some leagues or other teams haven't kind of gotten on board?
Sometimes teams will have various reasons, but they will tell me that their court is being used when there's a 2-hour gap, that it could be used where individuals could play on the court, or they're nervous about their baseball field getting messed up when it doesn't take that long to rake a baseball field, which is why they don't want to give individuals of all disabilities the opportunity to play on the field with their players and coaches. The biggest reason is they're scared, and it's different, and they're judging something that they haven't done and something that they never tried. I've had people before who didn't want to do some programs that I've implemented with sports teams, and they really doubted me, and I had to convince them for 2 or 3 years to let me do that. Or even some people did not want to commentate with me because I am a blind radio broadcaster. But finally, they gave me that opportunity, whether it was setting up a specialized program or commentating a basketball game with certain individuals. And I proved that I could do it, and that these events had value, and I got to do more of those things after those points in time.
Well, like I said, your track record speaks for itself, so hopefully more teams, more leagues will listen, read, and see the good that you're doing and want to be a part of it as well. So, Brice, before I leave, I got to ask you this question, because I'm going to get to this next. You're friends with Rob Manfred. Are we going to get some baseball in 2020? It could be more than 50 games. Brice, can you talk to Rob and say, hey, maybe we'll get an 82-game season here? Is there any way you can wring the commissioner's wrist to get some baseball played soon?
I can attempt to talk to him about that, but I'm more trying to get more consulting roles and tell him the great work I'm doing with the Orioles staff. And he's always been really willing to mail me some pretty outstanding auction items for my charity auctions with my nonprofit, from signed items from Carlton Fisk to Carl Yastrzemski to baseball signed by the All-Star team. So he really comes through great in that aspect. And the same with my friends Adam Silver and Kiki Vandeweghe from the NBA.
That's awesome. Hats off to Rob Manfred. And so finally here, Brice, how can people, again, reach out to you if they want to learn more information, if they want to help out? How can they reach out and be part of the change?
Well, hopefully people will call me, email me, or text me. So far, I've not gotten anything, and that gets kind of frustrating when I get prepared for these radio interviews, and I spent hours, setting them up. So my phone number is 812-899-5673, 812-899-5673. My email address is bryce@beautifullives.org, BRYCE@beautifullives.org. They can pull up our nonprofit website, which is www.beautifullives.org. They can connect with me on my LinkedIn account and help me get to that 30,000 connection plateau. I'm 800 away. They can also follow me on Twitter at Brice Weiler, BRYCEWEILER.
It's incredible work you're doing so far, Brice. Again, co-founder of the Beautiful Lives Project. doing great work with the Orioles, and hopefully soon other teams, other leagues as well. Brice, we thank you so much for the time. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully, like I said, the word will get out, and we'll be talking to you more when you are expanding leagues and you are bringing your awareness and the Beautiful Lives Project to more places, getting more out there. We do appreciate the time. Thanks so much, and keep crushing it.
Thank you so much, Ryan.
Brice Weiler, just an incredible story so far, and so much accomplished at just 28 years old. Turned 26 later this month, really making me look bad here as a co-founder of a charity, Major League Baseball employee, and again, just how much adversity he has to overcome already just in his life to get to the point that he is at now. Just an incredible, incredible story. Hopefully that inspired you to help beautifullives.org. As you heard, Bryce Weiler on Twitter, on LinkedIn. So many different ways to get involved and reach out and be part of the change. So we do appreciate Brice joining on here and sharing his story, because it is one that I think now, like I said, with so much negativity in 2020, whether I can, just one person or not, trying to force June to be a positive month for sure, because each month has gotten just worse and worse and worse. The tide has to turn. Hopefully, like I said, with what's going on here so far early in June, maybe that tide is actually turning and we can salvage what just has been a horrendous 2020 so far. So unfortunately, like I said, we had the first hour, a lot of positivity, a lot of upbeat, a lot of bringing stories. We have to get some negativity, and that is Major League Baseball, what they're doing, a possible 48-game season. Is it even worth it? If you're on Twitter, Ryan_Hickey and the number 3 of a show poll out there, a Twitter poll out there, basically asking, would you be in for a 48-game season, or should you wait until 2021? Don't even bother with a 50-game season. I'll give you my thoughts on what that is next when the Morning Boys Ryan Hickey return right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind, like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind, like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama, like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply STOP to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It's time to wake up with the Morning Boys on Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
Welcome back into the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Hour 2 here as we go to 11 o'clock on the East Coast. We appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully everyone having a great weekend. Great start to your Monday here. At least we're trying to bring a lot of positivity here on the Worldwide Sports Network this Monday morning. So hopefully we can contribute to that and hopefully bring everyone's spirits up just a little bit than maybe what we've had in 2020 so far. It's not that hard to do, I guess, because our spirits have all been pretty crushed, to say the least. But we do appreciate Brice coming in, sharing his just inspirational, incredible story so far, how much he's accomplished, and not even using being blind as an excuse or as a barrier. For sure, he's just continued to crush it in the sports world, and we do appreciate him going on and just giving us his backstory and giving us his thoughts and laying out the incredible work that he has done. So we do appreciate Bryce again. We have 2020 or Apocalypse coming up in about 15 minutes or so. We have an extra contestant. If you want to get online, reach out. Let me know. We'll get you on the show. First and second place do get prizes. We have 5 people so far in the money. A little more than I was hoping for, not going to lie. But hey, we will give everyone who is deserving and who crushes the game show their proper prize for sure. But we do have to get to some negativity here, unfortunately, and that is what's going on with Major League Baseball. The owners, the players can't agree on really anything. And now, coming off of the latest proposal, the players offered the owners a 114-game season. They get paid for their normal salary for 114 games. Owners said, no, thank you. We're not going to do that. Didn't even offer a counter proposal. And now coming out that MLB is thinking about a possible 48-game season. And the question is it even worth it? If you're on Twitter, Ryan_Hickey number 3, I have a Twitter poll out there asking this question. Is it worth it? Yes, 40 games better than nothing, or no, pack it up. I'll see you in 2021. 48 games is a joke. Twitter, Ryan_Hickey number 3. Take a vote. We'll give you those results in a little bit here. But I'll give you my thoughts first. Is it even worth it to play a 48-game season? My answer, hell no. Absolutely not. If that's the option, if it's 48 games or nothing, I'll see you in 2021. Don't even bother coming back this year because there's a few reasons why. One, it wouldn't even feel legitimate. I mean, think about it. If you break it down from a percentage-wise, 48 games is just about 30% of the season. That's 29 and some decimal places. We'll just round up nice even 30%. So if we take this number and apply it to the rest of the sports leagues, would you be into an NFL season? If 2020 came about, right, and the NFL could only play 5 regular season games. If the NBA and NHL could only play 24 of their games in their respective schedules instead of 82, what if college football was just 4 games? Would you honestly be into it? Would you honestly get into a regular season if you're a Jets fan, a Giants fan, a 49ers fan, a Bengals fan, a Ravens fan, a Chiefs fan? Could you really get excited, worked up about a schedule or a season, that is 5 games? Then you go to the playoffs, win the Super Bowl? Would you honestly get into it? Because I have a tough time. I can't get into it. I'm sorry. Playing 30% of the season, it wouldn't feel legitimate. And for that reason, I basically have almost this asterisk or a cloud hanging over my head that anytime something good happens, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden, right after I see it happen, if the Mets win a big game, also next thing you know, it doesn't really count. People aren't going to look back on it and say, oh, this team, whoever wins the World Series, is going to be legit. 82 games. I'm still in on, and I'm still defiant that 82 games would be legitimate, no asterisk needed. Now, if you remember, I did a segment a few weeks ago, and if not, I can easily tell right here. I made the argument that no matter what happened with the NBA, with the NHL, NFL, MLB, there should not be an asterisk on any of those champions, assuming that the NBA and NHL can come back, and they seem to have the ability to come back or have a plan to come back. Whoever the champion is, don't give them an asterisk. If MLB comes back, plays half a season, don't give them an asterisk because it's happened before. 1981, the season was split up to basically 2 halves. This is the only time, think about it, there's only one time in the long, long history of Major League Baseball when the season, was split up into 2 halves to where the team that won the division in the first half was guaranteed the playoffs. The team that won the division in the second half was guaranteed the playoffs. No other team has made the playoffs because they were leading halfway through the season. And in that year, 1981, the Reds had the best overall record, right? When you take the first half of the year, second half of the year, combine it. The Reds had the best record in baseball, but they missed the playoffs. They didn't have the best record in the first half, didn't have the best record in the second half. Dodgers won that year. I don't see an asterisk. I don't see anyone looking at that World Series any differently. 1972, a little bit different here because they still played a majority of games, but teams played an uneven amount of games. And this is why this is important, is because the Detroit Tigers back in 1972 won the division, and they won the division despite them and the Red Sox both having 70 losses. The reason why the Tigers got in the playoffs is because they played one extra game. They won that game, so their win percentage was higher. Now, the Tigers didn't win the World Series that year, but they made the playoffs because they played 156 games. The Red Sox played 155 games. So there's been examples where weird, quirky stuff has happened, but we look back upon it like a normal title. No one takes away the Dodgers World Series, and if the Tigers won the World Series, no one would take away their World Series. But the 48 game, 30% of the season it's different. It would not feel legitimate. And while I made the argument that, if the NBA resumes, if the NHL resumes, and they crown a champion, no matter what the format is, they crown a champion, no asterisk. They played a majority of the regular season. I know it's unprecedented, but even if they had a different playoff format, which they're going to have, the NHL is having a different playoff format, no asterisk. The NBA is going to keep their normal playoff format for the most part, no asterisk. But baseball, I mean, if you play 48 games, guaranteed asterisk. Guaranteed. Played a third of the year. You can't look at that legitimately. And so my thinking is, if that's going to be hanging over, if that's already basically you start day one and you already know hanging over your head, whoever wins, whoever's a great year, it's really not going to, when we look back in history, it's not going to mean much. Do you really want your team to win a World Series that no one will respect? I don't. I'll be completely honest. If the Mets win the World Series in 2020, they play 48 games, play an expanded postseason, they win the World Series. I don't want them to win it. I'm going to root for them to win it. Don't get me wrong. If that's the only championship I'm going to see in my lifetime, I'd like it to be one that people respect. Because guess what? Whoever wins, the Yankees, the Astros, the Dodgers, it's going to be looked upon differently. No one's really going to respect it. You played 48 games. You barely played a third of the season. How can you legitimately look at a World Series champion in a sport that is based on longevity, that is a marathon for a reason, and it's all about consistency through that marathon, peaks and valleys, it's who stays consistent the longest. That's really what it is. It's a battle of attrition. Similar to the NFL. The team that wins the Super Bowl at the end of the year, for the most part, is the most talented, but not only the most talented, the one that stays healthiest. And usually if your good players are healthy, that means you're going to be the more talented team. It's a war. Especially baseball, it's a marathon, it's a grind, it's grueling, it's supposed to be that way. To play 50 games, I understand every game would be intense, every game would be almost, worth 3, to where if you have a 3-game winning streak, it's almost like a 10-game winning streak in a season that's so short like this. But I don't see how anyone's going to respect the title. No one's going to really look upon the World Series as legitimate. It's going to be a joke. It's going to be laughed at. So no thanks. I don't want any part of it. Just pack it up. I'll see you in 2021. Play a full 162. Probably lose a ton of your fan base doing so. But at least that will be legit. Because think about it. If there's an ERA record, guy bats 450, batting title, pitcher, has a sub-1 ERA, just sets records because of the season so short. They had 8 or 9 good starts, or a player had, 2 or 3 weeks where he was red hot, and guess what? Those 2 or 3 weeks are magnified because the season's so short. Those records aren't legit. You can't in good faith say, someone who batted 500 is the new batting title, is the new batting champion. So if you see that's already going to be a sham, where people won't respect the records, won't respect whoever wins the World Series, honestly, I'm good with no baseball. I don't want to have a season that's where it's constantly hanging over my head. I know this doesn't count, this doesn't matter. And again, sure, winning the division in 2020 would be great. But you look back upon it, okay, you won the division when you won 30 games. Big deal. 50 games through the year, the Nationals were 19-31. They were dead in the water, and they turned it around because the season's a marathon, it's a grind, and credit to them for turning it around. Could you imagine if the 2019 season, how they started that year, or was a coronavirus shortened season? I understand there's obviously a pandemic going on. I understand there's circumstances that are changing and changing the reason for a shortened season. But I'm not trying to watch baseball that doesn't really matter. Doesn't really count. And not to mention, as we're starting to open up, Long Island's entering phase 2 this week. New York City today is entering phase 1. Things are starting to open up. Things are starting to come back. We're going to have a summer to where now, you know what? I understand there's no sports, and the NBA and NHL both trying to come back end of July, early August. So there's still another almost 2-month gap for live sports coming back. I'll be honest, there's enough distractions. I'll make it. At this point, if we made it this far, with restrictions being lifted, if you're able to go to the beach, if you're able to go back to your favorite restaurant, maybe you can go to a bar that's, half capacity. There's enough distractions now to where, you know what? I don't have to be glued. I'm not stuck at home every single night. I'm not actively looking for a distraction. There would be a baseball game. And this is coming from someone, I am a huge baseball fan. That and football are my 2 favorite sports to watch. Huge baseball fan, huge Mets fan. So I'm not a person who's already on the fence about baseball. Nothing I want more. The Mets are my favorite team in my life. But I'll be honest, 50 games I can't take seriously. And because I can't take it seriously, I don't want to watch a season that's going to be a sham. I don't want the Mets. That's my biggest fear. The Mets win the World Series. No one looks at it. No one cares. And now you're a laughing stock, or you're the butt of a joke because you're trying to claim it as legit. When everyone else, all the 29 other teams, fan bases, and the country knows. And you're in the World Series, but they played 50 games. Big deal. And I'll say this. This is my final reason why, honestly, I'd rather just wait till 2021 to have a 50-game regular season. I'll be honest. I've been following these negotiations. A lot of it has been leaked through the media more than normal. So we've really, as fans, been on, inside the war room, per se, seeing the negotiations, seeing the thought processes. I mean, I'm exhausted. It's grueling. These two are so far away. And you've heard me say, I am staunchly on the side of the players. I'm not changing that. I think the owners are making a lot of money. I think the owners are crying poor, and they are trying to bully the players into more pay cuts so they could save more money. They could put more money in their pockets instead of doing what's good for America, what's good for the game, to grow the game. They are all about how can I make as much money right now. So I think the owners are selfish. I think they're short-sighted. But to be honest, just to see and hear how far apart these two sides are, day in and day out, hear how entrenched they are on their side. The players aren't budging. The owners aren't budging. I've lost faith by the day, to be completely honest. And right now, it's to the point where 50 games, to me, is the breaking point. I'm done. If you can't agree, if you want to prorate the salary and the players want to prorate the salary and the owners do it, but they're going to say, all right, we'll do it in a short amount of games, just save us more money, I'm out. So I'd love to get your thoughts on Twitter here at Ryan_Hickey and number 3 to see where you feel about baseball. We'll get you the poll results right here. People do not feel the way I do. So I put the poll out. Would you rather see a 48-game MLB season or pack up shop and not play baseball until 2021? I'm on the side. If it's going to be 48 games, I'll see you next year. Don't even bother. Wouldn't be viewed as legitimate. And if I can't get into something that's not legitimate, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't get into a season that it's going to be viewed as a sham by whoever wins. And I can't get into it knowing that, hey, this is great in the short term, big win, but guess what? In the grand scheme of things, in the end, it's not going to matter. So far, 64% of you say 48 games is better than none. 36% say I'll see you in 2021. If you want to vote, again, Ryan_Hickey, the number 3. Would you rather see a 48-game MLB season or pack up shop and not play until 2021? We'll get your results throughout the show. We'll definitely, before we get out of here, give you the final results. But so far, most of you are against what I'm saying. Most of you will take 48 games better than nothing. But I personally, I can't, when it's not legitimate, I can't view it as real. And for that reason, I just can't get into a season that wouldn't be real. So let's get your thoughts again. Would you be into a 48-game MLB season? If it comes out tomorrow, July 1st or July 15th, 48 games, playoffs, we're playing. Would you be into it? We'll get your thoughts either on Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. If you want to tweet us at Twitter, WWSR_radio. So we'll read your thoughts on whether you'd want to see a 48-game baseball season or no baseball. When we come back, it's 10:20. You know what that means? 2020 Apocalypse, the fastest growing game show in all of America. We have our next contestant. We'll see if he can go a perfect 5 for 5, the elusive 5 for 5 in the Morning Boys. Ryan Hickey return right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stock, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors, LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC, annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network, LLC.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It's time to wake up with the Morning Boys on Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
Ah, yes, the sweet, sweet sound of the game show music. You know what that means. It is 10:20, which means we are playing, and it's time for 2020 Apocalypse, the fastest growing game show in all of America. Not my word, just truth that I've seen on the internet. The internet never lies, as we know. It's always right. And we look to see if we can get a new champion. So far, we've had plenty of contestants. 3 to 5 has been a popular number. 4 to 5 has been a popular number. We have never gotten a perfect 5 out of 5 score so far. So we'll see if our next contestant can crack that barrier, guarantee himself a spot in the money. None other than my friend Joe Pytel, lifelong friend, high school guy, big Penn State fan like myself. So obviously, you know, we are tight. Joe, appreciate you coming on, man. What's going on?
What's up? How's it going?
We're hanging in. We are hanging in. How about yourself? You are going to year 3 of law school. Obviously, it's been a weird year for sure. What's that been like?
It's definitely been tough with online classes, but we're surviving. We're getting through it. Just distracting myself.
Well, that is, yes, that's been easier to do than ever, I feel like, looking for distractions for sure. But well, at least we hope the show is a distraction, and we hope that at least you can do well. You're ready for 5 questions. Probably get perfect scores out there. Also, not to add any more pressure, get you more nervous. The unperfect score, a 0 out of 5, still has not been accomplished yet. You could be the first person. Are you ready for that?
Pressure's on.
The pressure is on. 5 questions. We'll give you 5 headlines. Best score out of 5 will be your number. And the top 2 prizes, or top 2 finishers, should say, do get a prize. So the number for there is 3. First place is 4. But again, don't be shy to go 5 out of 5. Are you ready, guy?
Oh, I am ready.
All right. Number 1. This is a newspaper headline. Tell me if this is real or fake. The Bay Area saw no new COVID-19 deaths today for the first time in 3 weeks. A local bartender and spirits maker was arrested on child porn charges, and the Richmond man found eating his dead grandmother has been charged with her murder. Is that a real headline, or is that fake 2020? I can read it again if you like.
Yes, one more time.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. So is this a real headline from a newspaper online on the front page? A Bay Area saw no new COVID-19 deaths today for the first time in 3 weeks. A local bartender and spirits maker was arrested on child porn charges, and the Richmond man found eating his dead grandmother has been charged with her murder. All 3 of those are combined into one headline. Is that headline real or fake? Apocalypse.
I'm going to have to say fake.
That is, Joe, a real headline. Over the weekend, there was a news article posted on Thursday from SFist. I looked to see what it is. It's a San Francisco newsletter covering all things Bay Area. SFist. I don't know exactly what the pronunciation is, to be completely honest, but it's legit. Has over 200,000 followers. Has a blue check mark, so it's real. So it's a news area, and that was their headline for the day. All
That's
3
scary.
of those put it into one as a lead article. That's a hell of a roller coaster.
All right. Poor grandma.
So positivity with no COVID-19 deaths. And then, you just take a turn and it just gets even worse. It's wild. But hey, man, that doesn't encapsulate 2020. I don't know what does. But you're right. You're hot. The good news is, hey, doesn't mean you still can't get first place. You know, that's the great news. No one's got a perfect score. So one wrong answer doesn't hurt you at all. You're still sitting pretty. You ready for number 2?
I'm ready.
A new challenge has emerged on TikTok, the hashtag Pee Your Pants Challenge. Is that a real challenge on TikTok, or is that a 2020 fake, made-up challenge?
I'm going to say
the
real.
Pee Your Pants. Hashtag Pee Your Pants is...
Oh, wait, Pee Your Pants.
Hashtag Pee Your
real.
Pants.
Yep. I'll stick with my answer.
I sense some changing. I'll give it to you since I basically started saying that the answer was correct. It is 2020. It is a real challenge.
Okay.
Has over... Now, this is... to be honest, I aggregated this about a month ago. So these numbers should change. But the time that I found the story and the numbers were in there, 3.9 million views on TikTok, and many others have participated in the Pee Your Pants Challenge. This was back in, I believe, April. So I can only imagine if this challenge took off, how many people have peed their pants on social media. But it's a real thing. I don't know how it started, but it's a real thing. Would you, if you were on the talk, if you were a TikTok influencer or a popular person, would you participate in the challenge?
I think there's other challenges I would try to do first.
It would be the first one that you're desperate to get to your followers?
Yeah, probably not. It depends how desperate, I guess.
I guess you're right. I guess if in this time of no content, I guess it's tough. You know, if you can't go out, how are you supposed to create TikTok videos? But I'm with you. That would probably be a last resort to where if I'm just bleeding followers and I needed to bring in some sort of income, maybe I'll do it. But hey, 3.9 million people have viewed it, and plenty of others have participated. So hashtag Pee Your Pants. I'm sure it's still going on if you want to participate if you're bored. But
Scary.
Yes, but it is real. So you got it. Hey, you're not going to go the over. The goose egg is lifted. You are 1 out of 2 so far, 50%. You're doing well. You ready for number 3?
Yes, sir.
All right. Over the weekend, a couple in North Carolina were asked to leave the beach after the group next to them complained that the couple was too close. They called over a beach official, measured the distance between the two groups, and found they're only 5 feet apart. So they kicked the other group out, and they were forced to leave. 2020 or apocalypse?
I have to say false. Apocalypse.
That is correct. It is the apocalypse. That did not happen. There's no beach officials with measuring with a measuring stick out there measuring 6 feet. Thankfully, no tape measures.
Yeah.
Judging the distance between the groups.
Gotta draw the line.
Literally and figuratively, gotta draw the line. That is something that did not happen. So you're 2 out of 3. One more, you're in the money.
Okay.
So so far you're doing well. First place is still attainable. Are you ready for number 4?
Yes, sir.
All right, a beach in California. We're going to stick with the beach theme here. A beach in California is requiring swimmers to wear masks even when they're in the water. Is that real or is that fake? Apocalypse only.
It's got to be apocalypse.
Wow, okay, that is apocalypse. I kind of thought, I would have you tricked there. To me, it sounded real. I probably would have answered real, to be honest, but it is true. It is fake. People are the beach is not forcing those, even if you're in the water, to wear a mask.
I think that's the thing. The mask would get wet. It doesn't really do anything.
Oh, right. I mean, you're totally right. It has no merit. It has no real reason to work. But you never, people. Listen, that first headline I think shows. It's been a wild and weird 2020. That's
true.
Some people will just go over the top, so you never know. But that is false. You are correct. So right now you're guaranteed a spot. You're in second place right now. Second place is a $15 gift card to a local establishment, wherever you want. First place, $20. So hey, this one you get it right, you are in the money. You're in first place, and you are cruising. Are you ready for number 5?
Yep, let's go.
All right, a Twitter account has been dedicated to rating the background designs of those on Zoom has exploded to over 214,000 followers. Is there a Twitter account out there with 214,000 followers that is dedicated only to rating the background designs of those on Zoom?
I'm going to say true.
That is true. You crushed it. 2020. Wow.
Nice.
Good for you. Room Rater was a Twitter account, ROOMRATER. We started in April. Rate Zoom backgrounds of celebrities, those on TV. And now it is for a good cause. It does help raise money for PPE and masks to send out to U.S. states and also for Native Americans. So, hey, it's a good cause, but 214,000 followers is pretty nuts, to be honest. I'm not sure if I follow it, but that's where I was hoping to try to trip you up. But that is real. It's a real thing. 4 out of 5. Look at you, 4 in a row. You finished strong.
I scared at first.
Scared at first, and now you are tied for first place with Lauren and my cousin Sarah. You 3 are sitting 4 out of 5. My guy Nick, by the way, gives you a shout out. Joey P, what's up? And now,
what's up, Nick?
And you surpassed it. He was tied for second place with 3 out of 5. So now you surpassed him in first place, all on yourself. Congratulations, man.
All right, thanks.
Got to ask before we get out of here. Are we going to get some college football this year, you think?
I think so. I think the fans in the stadium is just going to be a little bit different from normal. We'll have to miss out on a full whiteout.
I'm curious. Would you go to a game this year? If it's like 50% capacity, would you go?
I think so. I think it depends on the timing and what's going on around then. But I think so, as long as they put in proper precautions.
All right.
Good deal.
I think so too. I'm starting to lean towards now. Right. It's easy to say now in the summer when things are clearing up compared to what it's going to look like in September, October. But I mean, hey, we still got our season tickets. They're still charging. So if they say October, we're allowed to go to the whiteout game. I think why not? If you can wear a mask in the supermarket, why not just be able to wear a mask at a game? I think it would. I think it would be interesting. I don't think I'd have a problem with it. And if Penn State wins the national title, it's legitimate, right? No asterisk. This is real. They earned it. Maybe even harder than a normal year, raising that title normally.
We deserve it.
Oh, 100%, 100% for sure. Guy, hey, congratulations! You crushed it. 4 to 5, first place. Congratulations, man. Thanks for playing.
Thanks, guy. Have a good day.
You too. Joe Pytel crushing it. Going 4 to 5, getting the first one wrong, bouncing back, no problem, shoving off adversity, and getting 4 to 5 to now tie himself for first place with Lauren and also with Sarah, as he is now sitting pretty in the money. So we'll do it again on Monday. If you want to participate, reach out. Let me know. We'll get you on the show. Have participate. 5 new headlines, 5 new questions, 2020 or apocalypse. Get in now as we will continue this. See, that's the thing. People have asked me about this. When is the end date? I don't know if I have an end date, to be honest, because it's really going to be about the content and who wants to play. If people don't want to play, okay, fine. We won't continue it. But if people do want to play, it's going to be about, can we have enough content? And so far, I have still plenty more questions to go because 2020 has just been anything but normal, but sane. So the content keeps coming in. So if you guys want to keep playing, we will keep on rolling until really we either run out of content or run out of friends, which not that popular. So probably run out of friends first. So that's really when the end date will happen. We'll see how quickly that happens. But the main question I wanted to ask you guys throughout the show that we do have a poll on Twitter at Ryan_Hickey number 3. Would you be into a 48-game regular season MLB season? Some of you wrote down on Twitter, my guy Nick writes in, he agrees for sure the individual records have an asterisk, which I was saying, ERA record, batting title, all these personal individual records that a player would get and would hold up because of the shortened season would have an asterisk. He agrees there. They probably have a minimum to protect the record book. That's a good point, whether it's minimum at-bats, whether it's minimum innings pitched, to protect those sort of records, so you don't have a guy that bats 440 games, all of a sudden now be the batting title, set the record, and go down in history books as the best batting average for a single season, record. But he goes on to say, I think whoever wins the championship is legit and has nothing to look back on. Of course, other fans of other teams will say that, but everyone is playing the same season in the end. This is where the crux of kind of my argument of no asterisk kind of weighs in, and then Nick hit on it perfectly. Everyone is dealing with the same circumstances, which when I kind of brought this discussion up in general, talking about all the leagues as one, NBA, everyone is dealing with the pandemic. NHL, everyone's dealing with the pandemic, obviously. Same thing with baseball and same thing with football. So to have an asterisk on the champion in NBA because let's just say the format is a little different or because they weren't able to play the full 82 games, I think it's short-sighted. To me, asterisks are reserved only for those teams that won or benefited from unusual circumstances that helped out only a specific amount of teams. Right? Obviously, the pandemic, very unusual circumstance, something we never see happen and never, thankfully experience that often, but it affects every team. So, sure, while it's unusual, while we don't really see it happen, no team truly benefits from having a 4-month layoff and then resuming play in a bubble city in Orlando, let's say. But, for example, of the Astros who cheated in 2017 were found to cheat on the record, have confirmed to using video to dissect signs, then to know what's coming in real time, translate it to the batter, to tell them, hey, fastball's coming, curveball's coming. That is a legitimate competitive advantage no other team has that you will have a legitimate edge upon over someone else. So that's why I would reserve the use for an asterisk. It's for teams or players that get benefits that not everyone else gets, whether it's performance-enhancing drugs that no one else is using, whether it's just a break in the schedule, whether it's unusual circumstances where one team, let's say, catches the flu and all of a sudden they have to forfeit because no players are healthy to play in a Super Bowl or in a World Series game, and that team's crowned champions basically because the other team couldn't participate. Stuff like that, to where it's extremely out of the ordinary, but only one or two teams benefit. So that's why I would reserve the asterisk for those champions, except, and I would apply it for a 2020 season, just because I understand everyone is dealing with the same circumstance, right? Right now, every team has their players in their wherever they're from. Everyone's basically sitting on their butt waiting for the owners and the Players Association to get to a deal. So no team is benefiting. The Dodgers don't get a leg up. The Yankees don't get a leg up. A team even like the Indians or the Rays or the Mets or the Braves, no team is benefiting and getting a competitive advantage from the pandemic. So I understand that where everyone the playing field is even. So in theory, that just kind of contradicts my statement of, hey, if the playing field is even, if everyone's doing the same circumstances, no asterisk. But for me, again, because baseball is such a sport where the grind is really emphasized, it's really about playing every single day for 162 games. To play a shortened season, I think, is still fine because we've seen plenty of examples in the past where shortened seasons and that championship is still viewed upon legitimately. But there has to be a limit to how many games you can play before it starts to look different, before we start to say, okay, listen, that's a little, 48 games to not even play a third of the season, to me, is too little. And again, I compare it to the NFL. If the NFL regular season was 4 games, would you view it as legitimate? I wouldn't. Nick also writes a little earlier, as a Jets fan, he would approve and view a 4-game NFL regular season as a legitimate season, because that just means the Jets season will be over that much faster. If you're a Jets fan, I totally understand that line of thinking. But I have a hard time viewing a team that plays well for 45 games, for 50 games, again, not even a third of the year, 30% of the season, goes to the playoffs, stays high, wins. To me, I just can't view it as legitimate. I'm sorry. I just think the season's not long enough. And I think, well, yes, maybe the fans of your team will view it as great. I understand there's haters everywhere. The 20 other teams that win, whoever wins, there's going to be a lot of haters out there. But I feel like it's exhausting to kind of always have to verify your championship, to always have to back it up, to always try to prove legitimacy. I see what the Astros are doing now, and this also kind of goes into my thinking here. A lot of Astros fans, since this report came out about the cheating what happened in 2017 when the Astros won the World Series, a lot of Astros fans are coming out and trying to defend the title, trying to defend that the World Series was legitimate, trying to defend that every other team is cheating, trying to defend that there wasn't really that much of a gain for the Astros cheating, and trying to admit that, hey, we would have won anyway. The Astros would have won, whether they're cheating or not, they would have won. And you see a lot of fans getting upset, getting frustrated that you're constantly having to try to justify your title, constantly having to push back and say, hey, listen, we only played 48 games. Hey, we took the signs of the one team and basically every team we played, and they didn't have our signs back, so we got a legitimate advantage. It's exhausting. I'm sorry. If the Mets won the World Series, don't get me wrong, in the moment I'll be very happy. And I'll be fighting to the day I die that it's legitimate. But in the back of my mind, I know it's not. And it's exhausting to where you don't want that, yeah, but. I want to win a World Series as a fan. I don't have to justify. I can just look back and say, man, 2020 was awesome. They won that year. They're the best team. They deserved it. Not, hey, 48 games is still legitimate. Hey, everyone had to play 48 games. I understand what Nick's thinking. It is a good point that if everyone's dealing with the same circumstances, it should be viewed upon as legitimate. But for me, because the season's so short, I think there is a line you have to draw to where anything less than maybe, let's say, 70 games, I think is just too little, to where the entire grind of baseball is lost. The entire battle, like the hardest part of baseball, is just getting up every day, being consistent, playing, getting excited, playing your best. That's just lost. So for me, that's why I would view 48 games as not real, as not legitimate, and I would have a tough time looking at whoever wins the World Series as anything but, looking at it a little differently, looking at it with an asterisk for sure. That's why I would put an asterisk on the title. And I wouldn't view it as legitimate. I wouldn't view it as the same as the Nationals winning this past year, the Red Sox winning 2 years ago, any team winning the World Series in previous years. I just wouldn't look at it the same. I wouldn't. So that's why for me, if it's 50 games or nothing, I'll take nothing at this point, honestly. As a huge baseball fan, as a huge Mets fan, nothing I want to see more than this team play every single night. And this team, with the way they're constructed, the Mets need to play. They're built to win now. They can't afford to have a year off. This would only hurt them if they didn't play baseball in 2020. But even with that said, to me, 50 games just not enough to where I can view it as, hey, you know what, that's legitimate, that's real. I'm going to take it as my own, and I'm going to take it and have the World Series just be like the Nationals last year and just be like every other team before that, put them in the same realm because they're all even. That's my thoughts. If you have yours, please feel free. Whether it's on Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network, write in, Twitter, WWSRN_radio. If you're on Twitter, if you search me, Ryan_Hickey, the number 3, vote in the Twitter poll. I have that exact question, 2 options. 40 games better than nothing. Yes, I'll take a season. It's legitimate. Or no, pack it up. I'll see you in 2021. No baseball, and we'll wait till next year. So let's get your thoughts. We'll finish the poll results and give you those before we get out of here. When we come back, Kevin Durant announces he's not playing this season. When the season resumes in Orlando, he will not be suiting up for the Nets. We'll discuss if it was a good decision or not when the Morning Boys, Ryan Hickey, return right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Setuha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com, or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. It's time to wake up with the Morning Boys on Worldwide Sports Radio Network. And here's your host, Ryan Hickey.
And welcome back into the Worldwide Sports Radio Network on this gorgeous Monday morning. Hopefully you had a great weekend, having a great Monday, great start to the week. We always try to get your week going off right, in the right direction. Hopefully, again, a little entertainment, a little information, a little knowledge. We try to provide it all here as a one-stop shop to our listeners at the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We do appreciate you. Whether it's on Facebook, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. If you're listening through Periscope on Twitter, WWSRN_radio. Or listening through our new developed app, whether it's WWSRN on iOS or Worldwide Sports Network if you have an Android phone. Great tool. Has all in one. YouTube clips, news articles, all the shows, all in one centralized location. WWSRN on iOS is the Worldwide Sports Radio Network app, or Worldwide Sports Radio Network. If you have an Android phone, type that in. You will have everything right there at the palm of your hand. It is a very, very useful and handy tool. I mean, how I suggest if you're a fan of the network, if you're a fan of the content that we produce on here, download it, and then it makes your life a lot easier because everything will be right there in one centralized location. So we do appreciate, so especially those listening on Facebook, if you're watching the show today, first of all, we thank you, and getting a few shout-outs, whether it's my guy Nick, whether it's a guy Mike, liking the polo today. I figured too many times, I've kind of dressed down, I've kind of wore a hat almost every show since the pandemic started. So I figured today maybe, for the first time in a long time, get ready, kind of, try to look good for people, look presentable, not just like I rolled out of bed, put a hat on, hair all over the place, and to do a show. So appreciate the feedback on the shirt. A very stretchy, dry fit shirt. I figured today's a great day for that, and trying to look good for you guys, look professional. I know my dad and my parents always get on me for not looking presentable. So hopefully they approve of the polo today. And as you can see too, with phase 2 opening up, boy, is it going to be nice to get a haircut for once. I'm sure everyone's in the same boat unless you have a guy able to go down to a secret basement or maybe, able to go somewhere low key we can get a haircut. But man, Long Island opening up phase 2 this week. I cannot wait for a haircut. And honestly, at this point, whatever they're going to charge, take my money. $40, $50, it's still, at least under 25 for me, but they want to double their rates. I'm in because I am just desperate. My hair has never, ever been this long. The last time I got a haircut was, I think, February. So that's been, 4 months? Just about, give or take. I think the longest I've ever gone in between haircuts at the most maybe is 6 weeks. And I, go crazy. Just the sides grow out. It's all over the place. My sideburns get curly. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And even trying to, I put a ton of my gel in my hair today and still all over the place. So definitely sooner rather than later, got to get a haircut. Hopefully whether it's Thursday show or it's Monday show, I'll be looking even more presentable because man, it's going to feel good to actually get a haircut. It's going to be absolutely weird. That's one of the funniest things too. It's I've enjoyed during this quarantine, during this entire pandemic, is that you see pictures of people. At least a few of my friends, I've seen pictures, where they're gathering, of course, safely and socially distant apart. But you see pictures and you just automatically notice the sides of their hair really expanding, going wide. The sideburns all over the place. It's just funny to see everyone's hair is in the same place. Just an absolute mess. And man, do we miss barbers more than ever. Definitely excited, at least here on Long Island. Get those barbershops open. Let's go. Let's get some business going and let's get some haircut because it's been something we all desperately need. And thankfully, we're starting to get to that way, get back to some sort of normality here. That is life. So we do appreciate at least the phase is starting to get back. And Sarah just writes in, this is great. I didn't know about this. I don't want to throw him on blast, but she wrote it, so might as well read it. Sarah's dad, my Uncle T, they live in New Jersey. He drove to Connecticut to get a haircut this weekend. Tolls, gas, and money was worth the cut. So think about that. My Uncle T, so desperate for a haircut, waited so long, said, screw it. I'm going to Connecticut. There's a guy I know. He's willing to do it. Drives from Jersey to Connecticut just to get a haircut. So we appreciate your dedication, Uncle T. And there you go. People are ready to get their haircut. They are ready to go, ready to get that cut, ready to look good as now we start to come out of the quarantine. That's the thing, too. Think about it. Now as restrictions starting to get lifted, now as we're starting to kind of see people again, gotta look good. I mean, I hung out at my uncle's house this past weekend. First time I actually saw people that weren't my immediate family, and can't even tell you how long. So that was a different but definitely welcoming experience. And then you realize, I didn't wear a hat to work. I came home specifically to put a hat on. It's like, I'm a mess. So it's nice to see now that we're actually looking and seeing people. Hey, maybe it's time to start looking good again. So there you go. I'm not that desperate to drive out of state, but for sure, like Michael T, driving from Jersey to Connecticut. But hey, when you're desperate, man, desperate times call for desperate measures. We got to do what we got to do to try to look good. So props to you, Uncle T. Hopefully the haircut was worth it. Can't wait to see if we do another Zoom family game night. Can't wait to see the fresh cut and what you're looking. And finally, at least we'll finish this last comment before we get out of here. Nick also writes in. So speaking of contestants, I always put out there, anyone who wants to be a contestant on 2020 Apocalypse, write in, let me know. We'll get you on the show. Nick is very adamant, demanding that one of our college friends, his name is Tim Quimbo, absolutely a psychopath, in a good way. We love you, Quimbo. He does tune in from time to time, so we do appreciate your support. We do appreciate listening. He's a great, great guy, but just a very funny guy. Nick is demanding that Quimbo come on 2020 Apocalypse. So we have to make that happen. We have to reach out to him. Hopefully he sees that or we'll reach out because I think that would be, talk about entertaining. Quimbo is anything but boring. I could have a whole, week of shows dedicated to some of the stuff that he did as we were roommates for 1 year in college. It was just, Nick can attest, just an absolute crazy man, but in a good way for sure. So we will get Quimbo on the show. That I think will be entertaining for everyone. And you'll see, even in the short 10, 15 minutes he's on the air, he is crazy for sure, but in a good way. Love Quimbo, and we may have to acquiesce to what Nick is asking. Get Quimbo on the show. He's demanding it. We have to. We care to the audience, and we do it for you guys. So we'll try to get him on the show and have some fun with him. But quickly here, I just want to, before we get out of here, I tease it, and I do want to get to this. Kevin Durant is deciding not to play this season. Is this the right move? And I think this is a very, very smart and wise decision for Kevin Durant. Wait till next year. Don't rush back. Don't come back. And just wait till the season resumes in December next year, because here's why. He's already rushed back once before. He's already come back too soon once before. Don't forget last year. All right, Game 5, the Western Conference semifinals against the Rockets. He strains his calf, misses the rest of that series, misses the Western Conference when they swept the Blazers, misses the first 4 games of the finals as the Warriors were down 3-1 to the Raptors, comes back in Game 5, has a great first quarter, but as we know, gets hurt, strains the calf even more, ends up being an Achilles tear, and now he's out for the rest of the year. So he's already come back once too soon and has gotten hurt by it. Why'd you do it again? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool him once. Kevin Durant tried to come back too early. Okay. You wanted to play the finals, win another title. Fine. You commend that effort. But obviously, you come back too soon, you get hurt. That's part of the deal, part of the risk. Got hurt. Okay. Happens. Fool me twice, shame on me. If you do it again, come back too soon. Rush back in. Put yourself in harm to get hurt again. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, if he gets hurt again, misses the next year, half of his time in Brooklyn is spent on the shelf. It's not worth it. Because even, we're not talking about coming back too soon from the Achilles injury, not that it's healed. It's healed. All you hear, all you're reading, he is back rehabbing, he's back playing, but for the most part, the Achilles is back. Now it's about getting back in game shape, and that's the risk where it comes back coming too soon. You got to forget, this is a guy that hasn't played in a year. That Achilles injury came June 11th. It is currently June 8th. By the time they resume the season, it's going to be maybe around July 31st. It's going to be 14 months before Kevin Durant has played a meaningful game of basketball. Going from 0 to 100 too quick is a real thing, and you risk yourself getting hurt, not popping the Achilles, or not coming back too soon and risking injury when it's not fully healthy. But if you aren't in shape, if you aren't in game shape and prepared to handle the intensity of the playoffs, you're going to get yourself hurt. You're going to pull a muscle. You're not going to be effective. Think about it. If you were to come back this year, there's 8 regular season games that's being played before the playing tournament starts and before the playoffs start. 8 games is not enough for Kevin Durant to get back in game shape, get back to where he can play effective minutes, knock off the rust, and play where he is your horse in the playoffs. And think about it. If he comes back, 100% he's going to have a minutes restriction. And you can't just have a guy coming off the shelf off an Achilles injury, sitting out for a full year, then come back and throw him in there 40 minutes a night. It's not going to happen. All you're going to do is going to get him hurt. So you're going to have a minutes restriction, and that minutes restriction is going to last a while. It's not, we'll ease him in 8 games enough, and by the time the playoffs come, he'll be full go, he'll be full bore, ready to go. He's going to have a minutes restriction the entire playoffs. This is the process. You have to be extra careful. Part of the reason why he went to the Nets and chose Brooklyn was because of their medical facilities. It was because of how they treated players medically. And this is a guy who popped his Achilles, knew that, and knew the first year of his tenure, wherever he ended up, was going to be rehab. He liked the medical staff the Nets had in place. He liked their philosophy. He chose that because he realized, I'm not going to get pressured to playing. They're going to do what's best for me, even if it hurts the team, which, Kevin Durant not playing is hurting the team. But they realized the bigger goal here. Make sure Kevin Durant himself is healthy. Make sure he's comfortable on the court. Not throwing it in a playoff where he has 8 regular season games under his belt, barely played. The playoff intensity is a lot. It's not the same as easing your way back into the regular season. If he was to ease his way back when the season starts in 2020, 2021, you could put a minutes restriction. You could put a soft cap on how much he can play. And the intensity is not breakneck. The intensity is not every shot means everything. So sure, he can afford to have some rust. You can afford to have him miss some shots or take some extra shots and just work his way back to playing shape during the game. Can't do the playoffs. The Nets, if Kevin Durant returns, the Nets and the Nets fans are expecting Kevin Durant to be the Kevin Durant we've seen in years past. You can't expect that when he's been off for a year. Hasn't even really scrimmaged. I haven't seen any stories about him even scrimmaging with his own teammates. Now you're going to put him in a real game? All that rust, sitting, in rehab for a full year, and all of a sudden you're going to put him in there, expect 40 minutes a game, have him drop 35 and 10? It's not going to happen. All you're doing is put him in harm's way. And even Kevin Durant, in the story, when he talked to Mark Spears at the Undefeated, admitted this. This is a quote that he had when discussing why he's not coming back. Quote, I don't think I'm ready to play that type of intensity right now in the next month. It gives me more time to get ready for next season and the rest of my career, end quote. He realizes the playoffs are a different animal. You can't all of a sudden get ready, get in playoff shape in 8 regular season games after not playing that long. It's not worth risking the rest of your career. The Nets aren't one player away right now with the way they're constructed. Remember, they brought Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving there. Now, I have my own question about Kyrie Irving and his championship medal. But know what Kyrie's going to be in the playoffs. You're asking a lot for Kevin Durant to step on the court with an average team when he's not there, be the savior, be the beacon, take the team, put it on his back, and try to have them run off a championship run. It was always about next year for the Nets anyway. When they signed Kevin Durant, they knew what they were getting. They knew who was going to miss the entire year. They knew 2020, 2021 was going to be the season they're going to contend. Don't risk another year because now you're trying to get greedy. You see the short term of, oh man, if we can get Kevin Durant, who knows what's going to happen. The risk is not worth it. Very, very smart for Kevin Durant to call it off this year, get out in front of it now, and not have questions being asked about more of he should play or not, and keep next year as the main reason, as the main focus as to what your goal is going to be going forward. So smart by Kevin Durant. Good for him not playing, and hopefully that will work out for the best. And I think it will work out for him and the Nets the best next year. That is the year they want to focus on. Good for KD. Don't rush back now. If you're not playing for a full year, go into a wacky format to where all of a sudden you put yourself at risk, and all of a sudden you put yourself at risk for next year. I think I'm going to do it for the show. We'll finish with the show poll. Again, I asked you on Twitter, would you rather see a 48-game MLB season or pack up shop and not play baseball until 2021? 64% of you say 48 games better than none. 35% say forget it, we'll see you in 2021. Don't worry about baseball. I'm in that 35%. I'm in the minority thinking if you're going to have 48 games, honestly, don't even bother. Don't even bother playing. I wouldn't view it as legitimate and see you next year. So obviously, still a majority of you would like to see baseball, which is a good sign. I mean, I'm a huge baseball fan. So trust me, I want to see baseball. But if it's 48 games or nothing, I'm on the side of no games, not even worth it. And we'll see you next year. That's going to do it for this Monday edition of the show. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate Brice Weiler for coming on at Charity's incredible story about fighting through adversity and making a change for the best. We brought a lot of optimism to today's show. That was really the theme. Try to uplift, try to bring some optimism that, hey, it's been a rough few weeks. It's been a rough, really, year so far. But if we change on the horizon, hope is on the horizon. We hope that we brought a little bit of that in these last 2 hours. So we appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully you have a great